In 1998, a book was published that examined psychiatric disorders through the lens of cinema. Danny Wedding's Movies and Mental Illness has since been updated multiple times, with its fifth edition released in 2023. The book analyzes film characters and their psychological conditions, including sociopathy, using DSM-5 criteria as a clinical reference framework. Drawing on examples discussed in this work, today we will rank the 9 most realistic sociopaths in cinema from 9 to 1, with number 1 representing the most clinically accurate portrayal. Starting with number 9. Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs, 1992. Quentin Tarantino's debut feature follows a group of criminals whose diamond heist goes catastrophically wrong. Trapped in a warehouse, paranoia and violence spiral as the crew tries to identify the police informant among them. The film unfolds almost entirely in the aftermath, with the botched robbery shown only in fragmented flashbacks. Mr. Blonde, played by Michael Madsen, represents the most extreme manifestation of this environment. His behavior demonstrates a clear absence of empathy and a functional view of human suffering, both of which match observed sociopathic patterns. Where the film loses clinical accuracy is in its style. Tarantino aestheticizes everything: the blood, the banter, the music. Real sociopathy doesn't have a soundtrack. It's quieter than this. Mr. Blonde is a realistic archetype wrapped in cinematic exaggeration.
Ich habe überlegt, wie ich an sie herankommen kann. Mich hat das wahnsinnig aufgeregt.
Number 8. K from the movie Angst, 1983. Gerald Cargill's Austrian psychological horror follows an unnamed psychopath known only as K, immediately after his release from prison for killing an elderly woman. Within hours of his release, he embarks on another killing spree, breaking into a home and murdering a family. The film presents his actions through his own narrated stream of consciousness, creating an unnervingly intimate portrait of a mind without moral boundaries. The film was based on a real case. Director Gerald Cargill used a handheld camera and tight framing to mirror the psychological claustrophobia of impulse-driven violence. The limitation of this portrayal lies in the character's extreme social isolation. Most sociopaths maintain some degree of social integration. The absence of such connections in Angst places the character at the outer limits of the sociopathic spectrum, rather than representing a typical case.
Watch it, Trippy! Sidewalk! Ouch! My arm! My arm! Ow!
I got a message for you, Roth. Leave Emma alone. Look at me. If you don't, I'm gonna rip your fucking head off.
Ow! Get it, man! Let it go!
Don't forget it.
Number 7. Peyton Flanders. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, 1992. Female sociopaths are comparatively underrepresented in both cinema and clinical literature, which makes this depiction particularly noteworthy. It is a psychological thriller about a pregnant woman who, after her husband commits suicide following accusations of sexual assault and she loses her baby in the shock, sets out on a path of revenge. Peyton infiltrates the home of Claire Bartel, one of the patients who destroyed her husband, posing as a nanny. She insinuates herself into the family, gradually taking over Claire's life and attempting to replace her. The film explores Peyton's efforts to alienate Claire in her own home through manipulation, deception, and escalating violence. Peyton Flanders represents a clinically significant portrayal of sociopathy expressed through relational and psychological aggression rather than overt violence.
Hey, you want to go for a ride?
No, thanks.
No thanks. What does that mean?
I don't want to go.
Go where?
For a ride.
A ride! Hell, that's a good idea. Okay, let's go.
Number 6. Frank Booth from Blue Velvet, 1986. David Lynch's surrealist neo-noir follows college student Jeffrey Beaumont, who discovers a severed human ear in a field, leading him into a nightmarish underworld. He becomes entangled with torch singer Dorothy Valens and the criminal Frank Booth, who holds Dorothy's family hostage and subjects her to ritualistic sexual abuse. Frank Booth embodies a combination of sadism, sexualized aggression, and dominance-oriented behavior. He exhibits what's known as instrumental aggression, violence used not in the heat of emotion, but as a tool, a method of maintaining dominance. His explosions aren't random, they're calculated to instill fear. But Lynch is a surrealist. Frank is also symbolic, a walking Freudian nightmare. The intensity is cranked so high that it becomes abstract. Real antisocial individuals are rarely this loud. As a documentary portrait, he's too much.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. Hey, Perry, pass me a match.
Sorry, never turned down a soldier.
Number 5, Perry Smith and Dick Hickok from In Cold Blood, 1967. Richard Brooks adapted Truman Capote's book with surgical precision. The film follows two men who murder a family in rural Kansas for no money, no clear reason, and no visible remorse. The film refuses to collapse them into a single type. Dick is glib, superficial. He plans, he manipulates, he feels nothing. Perry is different, damaged, conflicted, drawn to violence but haunted by it. This duality reflects reality. Antisocial personality disorder exists on a spectrum. Some individuals are calculating and shallow. Others are impulsive and internally chaotic. The film shows both. It also shows how they enable each other. Dick provides direction. Perry provides execution.
You're a big cop. You're really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, you know. Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it?
Number 4, Tommy Devito from Goodfellas, 1990. Martin Scorsese's epic follows Henry Hill's rise through the ranks of the Italian-American mob in New York from the 1950s through the 1980s. The film depicts the seductive glamour of organized crime, the money, the power, the brotherhood, while gradually revealing the paranoia, violence, and moral bankruptcy beneath. Tommy DeVito is Henry's volatile associate, a made man whose hair-trigger temper makes him both an asset and a liability. Joe Pesci plays him as a coiled wire, always 2 seconds from snapping. He kills over an insult, over a perceived slight. The persistent tension surrounding the character accurately reflects the interpersonal instability associated with antisocial personalities.
What?
Did you really kill your mama?
I guess I did.
Now, we've arrived at number 3, Henry from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, made in 1986. John McNaughton's unflinching film follows Henry, a drifter and serial killer, as he lives with his former prison friend Otis and Otis's sister Becky in Chicago. The film presents Henry's murders without sensationalism or explanation. He kills strangers using different methods in different locations, showing no pattern beyond opportunity. Based loosely on real serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, the film strips away all the mythology typically associated with serial killers in cinema. Henry's actions are portrayed without psychological justification or emotional framing. Violence is depicted as an ordinary, unremarkable activity rather than a source of pleasure or ideology. He doesn't enjoy it, he doesn't regret it, it's just something he does. The film refuses to engage the audience emotionally. We saw Henry in previous videos on the list related to psychopathy. This character is a superb portrayal that fits both of these definitions, which have a blurred line between them.
I'm turning you over to the authorities.
What for?
Coming on my property with a gun.
Hey! Hey, wait a minute!
Suppose I shot you. How'd that be? You want to hear what it sounds like?
Number 2, Kit Carruthers from Badlands, 1973. Terrence Malick's debut follows 15-year-old Holly and her 25-year-old boyfriend Kit as they embark on a killing spree across South Dakota and Montana in 1959. After Kit murders Holly's father for forbidding their relationship, the couple goes on the run, leaving a trail of bodies behind them. Narrated by Holly in a dreamy, detached voice, the film presents their violence against a backdrop of stunning natural beauty and teenage romanticism. Kit, played by Martin Sheen, is based on Charles Starkweather, a spree killer from the 50s. Malick drains the violence of drama. Kit shoots someone. The camera doesn't linger. The music doesn't swell. Life continues. Kit Carruthers is defined by emotional deprivation and behavioral neutrality. Violence is treated as a situational outcome rather than a moral event. This ordinariness is particularly consistent with clinical findings, which emphasize that sociopathic behavior often lacks emotional intensity and dramatic motivation.
Monsieur Hoffman, je suis l'homme que vous cherchez.
Elle est morte? Morte?
Venez avec moi en France et vous saurez tout.
Jusqu'à sa mort.
Je vous offre cette chance. Unique.
And finally, number 1, Raymond Lemorne from The Vanishing, 1988. George Sluizer's Dutch thriller begins with a young couple, Saskia and Rex, stopping at a highway rest area during their vacation. Saskia goes inside to buy drinks and never returns. 3 years later, Rex is still obsessively searching for answers when Raymond Lemorne, a middle-aged chemistry teacher, contacts him with an offer. He'll reveal what happened to Saskia, but only if Rex agrees to experience exactly what she experienced. The film methodically reveals Raymond's meticulous planning and complete moral vacancy. Raymond, played by Bernard-Pierre Donnadieu, is methodical and emotionally neutral. His social integration and qualities such as being a good father and husband make this situation even more terrifying. He is one of us. His criminal act is approached as an intellectual exercise rather than an emotional impulse. The complete absence of empathy is presented without aggression, theatricality, or psychological explanation. These characteristics make Raymond Lemorne one of the most clinically precise portrayals of sociopathy in film history. Cinematic portrayals often associate sociopathy with chaos, emotional volatility, and overt menace. Clinical research suggests the opposite. The most accurate portrayals are therefore the least sensational. Thank you for watching.